Crystal here from Speaking of Wildlife, and we are so excited to be joining you virtually for Barrie Winterfest. In this video series, you'll have an opportunity to meet some of Speaking of Wildlife's wildlife ambassadors, like Maverick the wolf, who's joined me in this introduction. We'll give you an update on some of the animals that you met during Barrie's Canada Day celebrations in 2020, and we'll chat a little bit about winter adaptations, wildlife in your backyard, and we'll have some winter fun too. Now, before we get started, we always like to introduce the center and sort of what we do here. All of the animals that call Speaking of Wildlife home are with us because they cannot survive in the wild where they belong. Some of these animals were injured, orphaned, abandoned, others were illegally kept as pets, and in all cases, these animals cannot be released to the wild. So they'll live out the rest of their days with us, where we provide their essential needs like veterinary care, balanced diets, and enrichment, as well as specialized care for their individual needs, abilities, and of course their desires. We want to make sure they get some of their favorite things in there too. So with all of that information and that background for you, I think we better get started. So let's go. Next up, we're visiting Maverick the wolf at his home. Maverick is a full-grown, nearly 4-year-old gray wolf, and he weighs in at about 110 pounds. Now, when he first came to us, he was only 10 days old, and he weighed in at just 1 pound, so he's certainly grown a lot in the last 4 years. Now, when he first came to us, it was actually because his captive pack that he was born to was experiencing a bit of a disturbance. So unfortunately, instead of working together to raise the pups, some of the wolves were dispersing the pups throughout the enclosure and putting their lives at risk. Those pups wouldn't have even had their eyes open and couldn't move around on their own. So they relied on other pack members to carry them around or to retrieve them and bring them back to the den where mom was. Because this didn't happen, the Wolf Center decided that they would need to place some of the pups in other reputable facilities to increase the survival rate of the litter and the pack overall. So Maverick came to us when he was only 10 days old and was hand raised by myself and some of our staff. Because of this, Maverick has sort of a strange pack. Some of us are human. And because he opened his eyes to see me, he thinks that I'm his mom. And that means that he's ranked me as the alpha female. How crazy is that? I am certainly not tough enough to be the alpha female in a wolf pack, but because Maverick thinks I'm his mom, and in those wolf packs, there are only 2 breeding individuals, the alpha female and the alpha male, he thinks that I'm the alpha. Now, that said, we don't interact with Maverick inside the enclosure. And the reason for this is we simply aren't built to do that safely. We don't have the tough skin or the thick fur. We don't have the incredible senses or that really strong jaw with those really sharp teeth. In fact, his jaw strength is believed to be up to 1,400 pounds per square inch of pressure. That's enough to break the femur, a very large bone in your leg, of a deer or a moose. And this is not a theory that I'd like to test out in real life. So we don't interact with Maverick inside the enclosure, and we do hope that one day we'll be able to give Maverick a companion that is his own species. This guy used to have a companion, and if you joined us for our virtual program in July, you would have met his half-sister, Lou. Lou had come to us to be Maverick's companion so he could have someone of his own species and his own size to play with. Unfortunately, in a devastating and heartbreaking turn of events, we lost Lou to sudden cardiac arrest in August of 2020. This left our pack grieving, the humans as well as the wolf. Now, Maverick grieved for a few weeks, but his human pack did everything that they could to brighten his spirits. Now, when we're talking about wolf packs, it's a pretty unique pack or family group that actually hunts together. So these guys are out looking for small mammals, maybe even large mammals like deer or moose, and sometimes they split up to do this. Now, they'll be following their noses, and they'll be using their eyes and their ears to find their food. But what happens if one of them finds food before the others? Well, of course, they're going to communicate that to the rest of their family or their pack. And how do they do that? By howling, I'm sure you've guessed. That howl is a long distance communication between a wolf pack. So they might howl that they have found food, they might howl that they've become lost or they got too far away from the pack. So they're indicating their location to the rest of the pack members. This howl is believed to be able to travel or to be able to be heard from like 10 kilometers away, up to 16 in large open spaces. And that's pretty incredible. Now, I'm right next to the enclosure right now, but I did want to demonstrate how well Maverick can hear and respond to that howl, if we're lucky today. And I thought maybe you guys could help me out at home. If you guys on the count of 3 want to howl as loud as you can, I'll howl too, and we'll see if we can get Maverick to howl back with us. Now, if you've got any pets in the room, you might want to keep an eye on them, or bear in mind that it can be kind of alarming to hear a wolf pack howling in your living room. So let's give it a go. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Oh! 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 Did you hear that? Maverick howled back with us. Now, I think he was rolling around in the snow and having a great time. Maverick is well built for the winter. He's got that thick fur and he loves the snow. When he's not rolling in it, he's usually running, chasing snowballs, or even eating the snow. I don't know that he's figured out not to eat the yellow stuff yet. In any case, he is well built for the winter. He does live outside year round. We have provided an insulated den that is straw lined, but he doesn't seem to use it all that often. He often plays on it. We've seen on the roof of it sometimes. He hides his food in it, but he prefers the den he's built himself. He's dug a hole underground that goes just below ground level so he can tuck himself away, curl up in a tight ball, and keep himself warm and sheltered from any wind or blustery weather that our winters might throw at us. In any case, we worry a lot about our animals outside in the cold, but these wild animals truly are built or adapted to living in the wild or outside throughout all of our seasons, and often Maverick's seen playing in the winter weather over hiding or sheltering from it. All right, that's a wrap on this segment of our Barrie Winterfest video series. Thank you so much for joining us, and we hope you enjoyed this video. If you want to learn a little bit more about Speaking of Wildlife, feel free to check us out on Facebook or Instagram or at speakingofwildlife.ca. And until next time, take care.